Thank you guys for coming. We appreciate it. I know it's been a long day. It's been a long week so far. Has it been good? Good content? Okay. We will hit you with one more team session today. Today we're going to talk a little bit about our experience in helping customers sort of understand and deploy Microsoft Teams in the real world. So what we'll do in this session is try to be as practical as possible. No marketing, and by that I mean the slides aren't very good, but you'll get a lot of actual information. My name is John Peluso. I'm the CTO of AvePoint Public Sector. I'm also a Microsoft Regional Director, focusing mostly on modern workplace governance and compliance in public sector and regulated organizations. Across the stage from me is my colleague, Jay Lync. Jay, you want to introduce yourself?
A significantly less impressive title. I'm a Principal Solutions Engineer for AvePoint Public Sector. Did my volume just go on? There we go. Yes, you have two blocks.
Two lines.
I'm a PMP, if that makes a difference.
All right. So we're going to tell you the story. This is a fairly short session, so we're going to get right to it. Today we're going to tell you the story of one of our, very collaborative clients. Happens to be Ridge National Laboratories. So Ridge National Laboratory is a laboratory that is sponsored by the Department of Education. Department of Energy. They are the largest science and energy lab that is sponsored by the DOE. Clean energy is one of their primary areas of focus. So a lot of your clean buildings and green buildings and things like that, a lot of that underlying science was collaborated on here at Ridge National Laboratories. So some pretty cool work that this team is doing.
Tina Snyder is our primary contact there. Tina's the Mobile Systems Management Director, focusing on getting the scientists, the lab engineers, the students that are participating, able to communicate on the go. I don't know how familiar you are all with the National Lab systems, but it's a very transient community. There are staff that work for the labs, but then there are scientists that get 1 week, 2 weeks, a couple of days where they get to use these massive supercomputers to run their calculations. The rest of their multi-year project is all handled on the go. So Tina's a very important part of that. She's also an educator. She was an adjunct professor for about a decade, and through her work with mobility and her past experience as an educator, they brought Tina in to help run the pilot for Office 365. So in the early days, what they started to standardize on for messaging was Lync. It was a very simple but enterprise capable ability for everyone to communicate with each other across the labs and across the project and experiments. As Lync became Skype for Business, they got really excited with some of the video and telephony capabilities that they would get with that, and clearly they made that transition.
One of the things that I think is important is you got to keep in mind the kind of audience that we're dealing with here, right? So what was tremendously impactful for these folks was, and if we think about it's so simplistic these days, but think back to when IM was fairly new, right? And previously it had been email, and now I had this immediacy of an instant message. So if I'm working on a research project, right, time is key. The ability to get that answer immediately. And so this, I think, is an early recognition of some of the things that you'll hear later on in the story.
So, as is typical with IT over the last 20 or so years, the investment in modernization, they didn't have it. The lab's focus is get the money to the scientists, get the key infrastructure they need, like those supercomputers, the Hadron Colliders, all that in place, and spend as little money as possible in IT, because that's not where we should be spending our money. That's not what taxpayers are expecting from these labs. Well, when you don't plan and for that kind of a growth, when you don't have an expectation of how you're going to help these people do what they need to do, you have very smart people who are trying to innovate, and he's trying to move me forward, right? They go do what they need to do. They get the tools that will help them. They go to the cloud, they get Dropbox. And my favorite part about this story is they went to, the lab went to a Dropbox and said, we're really interested in using you for the enterprise. And Dropbox went, you already have 2,000 people using us. And the labs went, what?
And again, think of the audience, right? These are folks that their job, their nature is to investigate, find out things, move quicker, move faster, right? Solve problems. So that's what's going on. Jay, you want to walk through this one?
Oh, this is me, yeah, sure.
I mean, I'm happy to. Have you seen this slide yet today at all? Maybe 16 times, 17 times?
I mean, this slide's been around for a year or two now. And what you have is this very same story where you've got an organization, everybody's going and buying their own tools. They're throwing that credit card that has a $3,000 limit before they have to go out to RFP, and they're getting Dropbox, or they're going to use Google Docs for free, but you have no control. And the problem is, in the national labs, you're not just dealing with sensitive content, you're dealing with potentially secretive content. You're dealing with national secrets at times. So they had to come together and create a plan for not just how to protect the content, but do so for mobile workforce.
Yep. And I think another spin on this slide that's interesting too is, as great as the IM was as a beginning, place for them, it's still just one of these point solutions, right? So not only were they starting to drift into this land of shadow IT, they still didn't have a sort of unified focus on the collaboration. They were still tool hunting, right? And so, quite astutely, right, our contact specifically, but others at the lab also recognized that as Microsoft brought forward Teams, this was something that they wanted to make a bet on. And this is part of a little bit of publishing that we did not too long ago, but basically, this was the kind of the decisions and the observations that our contact, as well as others, were making. This kind of matrix of, and especially this is useful if in a what's in it for me scenario. So if you're doing adoption work within your organization, the best way to get people to adopt is to help them understand how their life is going to be better after than it was before, right? So if we look across a few vectors of the way conversations happen in an organization, one thing here is immediacy, right? Email lacks all immediacy, despite what salespeople think, right? Email gets to your desk before the email gets there. The salesperson is in your room, right? I just sent you an email. Okay, great. But for the most part, email has no immediacy. Instant messaging, right, has immediacy, and we have that benefit. Everything you got that was good from Skype, from an immediacy of messaging, you get in Teams. Persistence and follow-up, right? What is, oh boy, what is the, Yahtzee? What is the persistence of an email? It's fairly good, right? The downside of email persistence is it's not easy to go back and find it. So it's there somewhere, but I got to go dig for it, right? Skype had almost no persistence, right? So our old instant messaging systems, almost no persistence. It was as bad as email because it was email, right? A conversation spooled into my inbox. Teams is fantastic, right? It's one of the selling factors of Teams is this persistent threaded chat conversation. We look at group discussions, right? Could I have group discussions in email? Absolutely, right? But we were subject to, did someone reply? Did they reply all, right? Did they use a group alias, or did they just send it to a few people? Skype was okay at group collaboration, but what happened? I know what I did back in the Skype days. I'd come in every morning, I'd type the same 5 names in, I'd carry a group conversation with them the whole day. I'd go home, I'd come back the next morning, Groundhog Day. I open up my Skype client, I type the same names in again, and here we go again, right? Teams has this ability to not just create these groups, but also name them, pin them, right? Get back to them on a regular basis. So it's really great at that. And then in the one-to-few discussions, again, similar limitations in that my chats, just like my channel conversations, Yeah, they were there, but I had to recreate them all the time, right? And so Teams is excelling there. Another place that we saw drivers for Teams was around file and notification, file collaboration notification. Email for file collaboration, what do we think? It's probably got the highest adoption of file collaboration in your organization. So if you're looking for adoption, there you go, right? It's just that it really stinks at it. Right, it really stinks at it. The attachment models, things have gotten a little bit better because what we've been doing, right, what Microsoft's been doing is taking the behavior of the user and sort of pivoting it. Now we have smart attachments, right? When I go to do an attachment, it says, do you want to just put a link in there, dude? That's probably the right thing to do, right? As we know, Teams has fantastic file collaboration. The same action by a user, which is, I open up a message, I type in a subject, I attach a file. That's what I did in email. And it stank, right? Because now I had bunches of copies of the file. Teams, the same behavior, puts the file in SharePoint where it belongs, shares it with everybody, and now we can have an instant co-authoring party on that file. Meeting recordings. How fun was a meeting recording in Skype? Did you record the meeting? Yes. Where is it? I have no idea. Right? And then even if I did know where it was, what did I have to do? Figure out where am I going to post this WAV file so other people can get it? Maybe I'll send it in an email, except it's 400 megs, right? So as we know, the integration between Stream and Teams makes this very much better. And then obviously the last one is your notifications, my ability to tune into what I care about and tune out of what I don't care about. And we know with things like channel notifications and things like that, Teams is much better. So those were the drivers, and the next logical step was, let's do a pilot, right? So talk to me about Oak Ridge's pilot.
So Oak Ridge took the knowledge of what Teams could bring them, and they said, let's do it. They brought in about 25 end users, and they said, here's Teams, give it a shot, let us know what you think. And I sat down with them one day, and I said, how's the pilot going? And they're like, oh, well, we used it for about a week. We saw what it could do, but we stopped, and we went back to our old ways. And this had been a few months now. And the conversation that we had was they weren't sure if it was going to stick around, so they didn't see a value in putting their content in there. But on top of that, they could see some ways to utilize it, but they weren't sure how to convince everyone around them to do it. They didn't want to do some things here and some things there. And frankly, they kind of got lost in the, well, should I create a team or a channel? Or should I have this as a one-on-one discussion? So we sat down with them and we started talking about, all right, so if you're going to run this pilot again, how can you educate the users on some of the best practices for doing this? What, as an organization, do you think is a good breakdown for a team versus a channel versus a private or group chat? We also started talking.
I'm going to wade in on that one. So I just recently did a session over at the other theater on sort of tailoring teams. And this is one of the big mistakes I think people do in their early pilots, right? They think, I've got to educate someone on whether they need a channel, whether they need a team, whether they needed this, whether they needed that. You know what the most effective early pilots are? Find a business purpose where Teams is a good solution, build the team for them, and then say, go, right? This is how you collaborate. It's like building out a structured site template in SharePoint and saying, this is how you use the template. Because what you're asking people to do in the kind of start that Jay was talking about is you're giving them a brand new sheet of paper with a pen they've never used before and saying, well, it writes, you can write in cursive or you can write in capitals, go ahead, have fun. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do with that, right? So if you take away some of those more difficult decisions, get people using the software with some pre-created teams, right, that are curated, that's a good first step. Now, of course, you want to teach them and educate them from that, but that's a best practice that we see in early pilots.
So they took that, and Tina began to give a little bit more education on what's a business value, a business case that I can take to creating a team and organizing that. And she had a few webinars, and they put 100 people out there, and the next thing they knew, adoption was growing without any communications. The people who got it were using it all the time. and they were bringing people in to use their team or to experience that chat, and those people started to use it. And so we did end up seeing growth of the use, and it was completely organic.
Yep. Blockers.
I'm locked on.
So obviously, Oak Ridge is a government, right? They're linked to a government agency. They're independent, but they're sponsored by Department of Energy. And so they were in the government cloud. They're in the GCC environment. Anybody else in the GCC environment? Yeah. The problem that they encountered was a lot of as she was looking to find out how do I create business-driven scenarios, she started to hit the sharp edges of there's a lot of things that's not there yet, right? A lot of the first-party tabs like OneNote, like Planner, things that I can use to create a compelling business scenario. Third-party apps weren't there yet. And so while she could come up with some basic collaboration patterns that made sense, the real business value that she was searching for was not there. Yes. Okay. What are we seeing as general guidance in pilot groups? Right? Please think about a pilot group. If your user's larger than 300, right? If your user population is larger than 300, start with a limited pilot of some type, right? The target, right? Who should be in this group? Don't just include your IT, right? That's a good pre-pilot, right? One of the best ways to roll out teams is to use team to roll out teams so that your IT organization starts to learn, but that's not really a pilot, right? A pilot should include both power users and normal users so that you can sample them, but you do want to get folks who are going to be somewhat self-sufficient, right? You also want folks who are going to be able to feed back appropriate information.
These last two bullets really speak to the idea of a champions program. If you don't know what a champions program is, we've got some really good content on it. I highly recommend building that within your group. Those power users are going to help other people understand how to get the most out of it.
And then the other thing is, right, there's technology steps to getting your pilot group equipped, which is turning on the functionality for them. But this is the part that you will absolutely fail if you don't do, right? If you don't support that pilot group, this is going to fail because users are going to be left to their own devices and not really sure what to do. You know what a fantastic vehicle for supporting your pilot group is? A team, right? Perfect business scenario. Use a team. Create a tab, which is a list of things. Create another tab, which is links to some of the adoption content that Microsoft has, right? There's a lot of ready-made stuff that's out there, right, that you can just plug into your tenant. So definitely thinking about that. There's no way we could talk through all these words in the time we have left. But Jay, you want to summarize some of the planning and some of the initiatives?
Yeah, so when it comes to planning, we've talked about identifying actual business value and helping communicate how the structure of your teams can support that. We also talked a little bit about talking about the tools that you have. So a big thing they had was they had people in Google Suite and Dropbox. Well, they knew they had to target those users and show how can you do in Teams what you were doing there. And the minute they did that, they saw those people, the use from those people skyrocket. Training is a big one, but training isn't just putting a video out there and wiping your hands. And this was a huge one for Tina. She interrupted me during our presentation at our conference and spent 10 minutes talking about how to train properly. And cross-discipline.
Yep.
When I went and did a one-day governance workshop with Oak Ridge, they had the Exchange team, the identity team, the SharePoint team, legal, cybersecurity, all there to understand what vocabulary are we using? What does it mean when we talk about guests or external users? What's possible in the technology? Who owns what workload?
Yep, and these last two bullets, again, just to pounce on them. Your cross-disciplinary team, if you don't have someone with an education skill, a good trainer, a good communicator, if that's not you, make sure there's one of them on your team, right? Because that's the most important thing you do. You have to have someone who is skilled in being able to get the message across to the users. So I guess where we'll end is where they are, right? So certainly they are not done with this journey yet. So Jay, you want to summarize where they are today?
Yeah, right now they've taken the lessons learned of what additional things do we need to put in place from a governance and security perspective to feel comfortable rolling this out to 10,000 plus people. And they're evaluating both native and third-party solutions to help automate as much of that as possible. They're also in a kind of a holding pattern. The pilot is still live. It's still open to add people to it, but they are not pushing it out and they are not telling everyone about it as they try to figure out the strategies to solve those roadblocks.
Yep, and some unblocking has been happening in terms of now in GCC, the release of Planner, the release of Power Apps, the release of Flow, the release of more first-party tabs. Still awaiting messaging around third-party apps, which will be key, especially for them. But as the GCC technology starts to unwind, starts to wind up a little bit, then a lot of those technology blockers that they were facing. We asked Tina, what's the one thing you wish you knew before you started this? And she said?
Pardon my Tina voice. She said, understand what technology is available to you. When she walked into this journey, she went, look at how great Office 365 is, and she didn't realize what was available in GCC and what was not. And learning what tabs were and when Planner was coming, that was the most important thing to her, and what she wished someone had told her walking in.
Okay, so we're at time, and they're going to kick us out anyway. So thank you, guys. We're going to be hanging around here as they take these crazy microphones off, but thank you. And we'll make sure this deck is posted for you guys to grab.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.